Hello beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and also how to sew this beautiful gown. So the inspiration is the one in the middle and this is my recreation. So if you want to know how to cut and also how to sew this, please like this video, comment on this video, share this video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and let's get started. Welcome guys, so this is the material we'll be using. So this material is a cotton material, so that's the material I use. So you measure the length of your gown, then you add your shoulder allowance, that is half inch, and you add your hemming allowance to at the edge, so that at the edge of the gown will be hemming it, so you add the allowance. So after that, you measure your half length. So my own half length is 15. That's why I measured 15 there. Then you rule a line across. So after that, you measure your shoulder measurement divided by 2. Mine is 7.5, so I'll measure 7.5. Then I added extra 2.5 inches over here. It's like a bat wing kind of gown, so that's why I'm adding this additional 2 inches. Then I took down 1.5 inches at that area and I slanted just like a shoulder slope, but it's just 1.5 inches. So at that point over there, that is your shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus your additional 2.5 inches. You roll it downward. Then depending on how wide you want your opening to be, you can just use your curve measurement. Then you add few inches to it. So mine, I'm using 7.5. Then the joining allowance half inch at the upper part and the sewing allowance 1 inch. That's 1.5. You add it to your measurement. Then at this area, you measure your waist measurement. I will still come again at this area, but what I did there was to measure my waist measurements and I added additional 3 inches apart from the sewing allowance. So after connecting the line, I noticed it was the same and I needed like half inch, to join the sleeve to this. So I'm adding extra half inch, and as you can see, it is curved out. So when I sew, it will balance out. I hope you get. So now you measure your hip length from here. So depending, you can count 8 inches downward or 9 inches depending on your size. So you measure what you have here and you just add 1 inches. So whatsoever you have at your waist area, you just add 1 inches to it. And in case you have a very big hip, you can just confirm if it will accommodate your hip and also give you like 1 inch extra allowance at the side. I hope you get, because my waist is small, my waist is 24 and my hip is like 35, so I know that it will accommodate it. That's why I didn't even bother to measure it. I just added 1 inch to it. Then you roll it downward. You can roll it straight downward, or if you're not rolling it straight, don't make it to be too wide at the lower part. So now I'm trying to measure my waist measurement. So that's my actual waist measurement. I added 2.5 to 3 inches at that area and my sewing allowance. So now this is my hip measurement, and what I added at the hip measurement is just 1.5 inches. So in case if you want to measure your hip measurement directly, just measure your hip measurement, add 1.5 inches for ease, and add your sewing allowance. And at the waist area, you measure your waist measurement, you had 3 inches or 2.5 inches depending on how wide you want it. Then you had your sewing allowance. I hope you get. So that's the back. The first one we cut out was the back. So the next one we're cutting out is the front. So for the front, you put additional 2.5 inches, just as if we want to make a shirt. So that's the additional 2.5 inches over there. So now let's cut our neckline. So you cut a very small neckline because, as you can see, the the gown is looking like a shirt gown that does not have a collar. So you just measure very small your shirt's neckline. So mine is, I'm using 2.5 inches wide and the depth of the back is 1 inches. Then at this part, I'm just using 3 inches. So if you know your shirt measurement, you can just measure it at this point. So now you just connect like that. Let me connect it very well. So this is what we have. Please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. And if you haven't liked this video, please like this video. It helps this video get to the right audience. Please just like. Just click on that like button. Thank you. So we are done with the neckline. And the next thing we'll be doing is to cut the sleeve. So for this sleeve, it is a pieces. So this is my base, and this base is 5 by your cuff wideness. That is the wideness of your sleeve. So this is what I have here, and I cut out some other pieces. This is the first layer. Depending on how much fabric you have, so you can determine the length of these pieces, but the height of this is like, I think, 4 inches, and I curved it at that area. If you look at the gown very well, the first layer is curved kind of. So this is the second layer too. This is the second layer. So if you want your sleeve to be longer, you can just add additional one, but I didn't want my sleeve to get to my elbow. I want it above my elbow. That's why I'm just using all these measurements. So that's 4 inches wide, the first one. So that's the base. The first one over there is the base. The second one is the first layer. Then this one too, the height is, I think, around 5 inches. That's 5 inches. Then the third one too, this third one is around 6 inches. Around 6 inches. So for the length, you can do as much as you want. If you want it to be very full, you can just go ahead, but it's the length that matters. So the next thing to do now is to go and gather these 3 pieces. So after I was done doing the gathers, this is what I have. So this is my base measurement. I divided it into 2. So I'll place this one like this, the second layer, I'll place it like this, then I'll flip it over. Like, I will place it like this, then I will sew and flip it over. This one too, it will be sewn like this too, and it will be flipped over. So that's how it will be. But this one, it won't get to the end, and it will start from the beginning, and I'll just place it on it and sew like that. So I'm measuring 2.5 inches away from each side. Then it's from that 2.5 inches I'll place this one like this. I'm not flipping this one over, so I'll just place it like that, and I will just go ahead and sew. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. As you can see, that one does not get to the end, and these ones are flipped over, and they are flipped over. So this is what I have. Actually, I noticed the lower part of this sleeve, like the lower layer, the third layer, should be longer than that, because as you can see that the second one and the first one is almost the same thing. So this is the neckline. Just go ahead and use your bias to just turn it. So just use your bias to turn the front and the back. So after I was done turning and I joined the shoulder, this is what I have. Then for this front, you fold it in 1 inch. You fold 1 inch in, fold 1 inch in again, and you just sew. That's for that shirt opening at the front. So this is my sleeve. I'll just go ahead and sew it to this part. Not that 1/2 inch we added when we were cutting. So that's what we used to join this. So after I was done joining, this is what it will look like. This is what it looks like, rather. So the next thing to do is just to join the sides with your 1 inch sewing allowance. If you use 1 inch, actually, so me, I use 1 inch, so I'll use my 1 inch to sew it down. And this is the front. I went ahead to hem that opening at that front, 1 inch, 1 inch. So this is what we have. So the next thing to do is to measure your half length from your shoulder. You measure your half length, which is 15. So that's 15. You measure it. Just measure it on the right side of this fabric. Don't worry about the shock. We'll place something on it that will cover it. So you measure at this other side too, and you also measure at the back also. 15 inches. That is where the rope opening, the rope case rather, that is where the rope case will be, just to adjust this gown. So make sure that you take 2 inches away from the front opening. Make sure it is 2 inches away. Yes, just make sure it is 2 inches away at the front. So this is the back too. You roll it so that you can know what you are doing. So after you are done with that, this is our rope case. It is 2 inches, and I folded it half inch, just like a bias. You know, I fold half inch in, half inch in, so I'm left with 1 inch. Then you place it from that 2 inches I told you So after that 2 inches, you place it, then you sew it on both sides, that is on both edge, as if you are placing a bias on your clothes. So you sew at one edge and you sew at the other edge too. So you sew at both edge. So after I was done sewing, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like, and that's the 2 inches away. So now it's time to close up this part. So you make sure your neckline is aligning. So you make sure everything is aligning. If you are following the right process, you should everything should align actually. So from that 15 inches, you sew it downward, but it won't get to the lower part because there is an opening at the lower part of this gown. So, but from that 15 inches and at that area, yeah, at that front area, you just hold it down. You sew it, and you sew it at the other side too, but you won't allow it to get to the lower part. So I open, I think like 6 inches away at this part. Then I've went ahead to hem my lower part. So now for this upper part, you can use a button or you can use a press button. But from the picture I saw, I didn't see a button at that area. So I think they use a press button. So you fix the press button and you won't allow it to show at the front. So this is the rope. Just pass your rope around this part. So after I was done, this is what it looks like. So this is the press button I'll be using. So you need like 4 press button at this area. You put one at the edge of the neckline. Then you just fix it in such a way that it will make it cover up. So that's what I'll just go ahead and fix. So after I was done fixing it, this is what I have. So this is what the gown looked like. Then you go ahead to iron this your sleeve. You make it flat. After I was done, this is what it looks like. So if you haven't liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know what you think about this gown in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.